That's a good view. Oh, look at that shit. That's actually kind of cool. Get that elephant in the background. Boom! Look at that sexy ass motherfucker. Yo, what is up, you sexy ass motherfuckers? I'm back, and I'm ready to bring forth one of the greatest goddamn chariot plays that you guys will ever see in your entire life. Today, we're going to be showcasing a little bit of a Rome 2 battle. It's me and my buddy Marketable Skills. Go ahead and check him out on twitch.tv. Fucking great streamer. I love him to death. It's Wednesday, so it's Wife Swap Wednesday. So, you know, me and him are going to be going the fucking today. So it's going to be a good day. But make sure you check him out on Twitch. He's a great content creator and a great buddy of mine. And I know you guys will definitely enjoy his content if you guys tolerate mine. He's going to be playing as Baxter, whilst I'm going to be playing as Pontus. We're playing on this barbarian settlement. I don't remember what it's called, to be honest. But it's a fun one. It's one of the other, like, 3 that we have a tendency to play a lot. It's just a very fun barbarian faction with a lot of narrow streets, but with a very close victory point. So it kind of forces you to try to figure out where exactly you want to hold. But whilst we're playing as Bactrian Pontus, we are going to be playing against Egypt and the Seleucids. In this battle, we did do a little bit of a random chooser. So basically, we just counted how many Grand Campaign factions that we had. And then each of us chose the other individuals' factions. So basically, for example, I was like 22 or something. I don't remember. Whatever Bactria is, I have 30 Grand Campaign factions. And so I believe that it was... oh, it's not showing the names. Damn, I think it was Bactria that was the subscriber to Market that was playing with us. But I believe he was the one who chose my faction. Sorry, I had to drink some coffee. I had a little bit of a tickle in my throat. But yeah, no, this battle was absolutely insane. I've never had a battle that kind of turned out quite like this. It was very, very fun. Very good plays from both teams. And I definitely can't complain. I think you guys are going to quite enjoy this battle. Again, just keep your guys' eyes open for the chariots, and I'm going to try to remember that I do have chariot plays in here. This battle was played yesterday during one of my streams on Tuesday, May 4th, I believe, actually. Yeah, May 4th, Tuesday at noon MST. I do stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at noon Mountain Time, so make sure you guys come by and stay tuned for my streams as well. That's where I primarily try to bring as much content to you guys as possible, but of course I do try to bring YouTube content and such as well. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and click start. As you can see, this battle is 41 minutes long. This battle wasn't laggy at all, so it was in real time. Very, very fun battle, and I'm very excited to show you guys the battle. So let's get started. So yeah, they started a little bit further away than we had expected, because I think the deployment line for this barbarian map is around, like, right here. Because I think I had a type of sally out or guerrilla deployment in a previous battle kind of over this way. So they deployed a little bit further away. I think they were kind of scared of my artillery here. As you can see, we kind of did do a little bit of shotgunning with the artillery, but, you know, it's all part of the game. It's all part of the fun. But yeah, we got the Seleucids kind of marching up. They came in with a lot of hillmen and thorax swords. I don't remember exactly where they hid the rest of their army. I believe it was in this tree line. But of course, this isn't their entire army. But yeah, they have a lot of thorax swords and hillmen. Of course, they have archers and such hidden within the trio line. While with Egypt, we do have a lot of carrion, a ton of carrion axemen, it seems like, throughout this entire battle. I'm not actually sure how much he actually brought, but throughout the battle, it just seemed like every time I turned around, I saw another unit carrying axemen. I'm just like, damn, dude. But yeah, he also brought a lot of thorax swords, and I know he has some royal peltis hidden inside of the tree line, as well as, I believe he brought the 4 units of Nubian bows. I don't know if he brought any elite bows as well, but yeah, it was very, very good force. Over here, looking at my ally Marketable, he did bring a lot of Bactrian hillmen, a couple of thorax spears, as well as a lot of thorax swordsmen. Thorax swordsmen, of course, in Rome 2 are some very, very popular units, so I'm not surprised at all. Wow, okay, hold on. Let me just turn that down a little bit. Holy smoke, sorry. It's all set up for my stream, so let me turn that down a little bit. I don't want to break your guys' eardrums. But yeah, so he brought a lot of thorax swords and Theros spears, as well as his Persian light archers. Me and him went with the lighter archer approach in favor of trying to bring a lot more elite infantry. So I brought Eastern archers, which are kind of the only real archer unit you can bring as Pontus. They're cheap, but they're actually fairly effective, as well as Persian light archers. They can't take too many hits, but they are very effective as long as you're not trying to do a archer battle. Over here you can see that I'm trying to do a little bit of shotgunning with my artillery. I'm getting a little bit of hits on these thorax swords. Very pretty, very pretty. Oh, that poor guy. Oh, dude, he just ragdolled on the ground. He's just like flopping around. That poor dude. Holy smokes. But yeah, I'm just trying to do as much shotgunning as I can, trying to get as many kills as I can before Egypt is able to get to the walls. But yeah, so we're going to be able to hold this initial frontline defense. Surprisingly, they didn't go for this corner. Almost every time that I play this barbarian settlement, I always see the attackers go for this corner. So that, you know, that was a pleasant surprise. I hate trying to defend this corner because every time I try to defend this corner, I almost lose. But looking back at the army of course, me playing as Pontus, I brought a ton of Pontic swordsmen. I think I brought 8 units of Pontic swordsmen. I did bring a couple of units of hillmen as well as my 4 units of Eastern archers. The rule set was 1, 2, 4. Max 1 artillery, max 2 pikemen, max 4 archers. Your typical siege rule set. And then, of course, I brought a Pontic sword general. I did also bring a decent amount of naked swords. Those naked swords, every time I play, Pontus is my favorite faction to play, so I was really glad that I got them as my random faction generator. Oh, sorry guys, I had something in my throat. But with Pontus, I know a lot of people kind of it's a, you know, throw up because naked swords are very, very susceptible to archers, but they do have a special charge ability called Frenzied Charge, where they can use it, and it just does a ton of damage on the initial engagement with the enemy. So I love naked swords, especially if I can get the charge off whenever there's not too many enemy archers, just because their naked swords are great. I also brought 1 unit of pikes. I don't actually bring pikes too much anymore because, I mean, they're great. They're good units, but I just don't really bring them up as much as I used to. But I did bring you 1 unit of pikes as well as my chariots. My ally did bring a unit of elephants, which has been spotted by the enemy. As you can see, there's no eyeball over it. So that's going to be very, very fun, as elephants were very, very good in this battle. I did shovel the unit of mercenary naked swords over in this corner over here just to kind of keep them hidden, in hopes that the enemy wouldn't be able to see them, and I'd be able to get a little bit of a charge in on the enemy forces whenever they were starting to engage in these streets over here. My ally did bring his ballista over here, because there's a glitch within the game where if you click Alt and right-click at the same time, you can actually turn your artillery fully around to be able to engage with enemy units. So he brought his ballista and put it over here so that way he could potentially get a decent amount of kills over in this courtyard right here. But here we go. We got Egypt kind of moving in with his initial thorax swords. I'm surprised that he brought thorax swords up first instead of his carrion axemen. Of course, he's got carrion axemen coming in second, and carrion axemen are basically just the equivalent of hillmen, which, as you can see, my ally over here, Marketable, just charging his hillmen, trying to get that initial volley up, doing as much damage to these thorax swords as he can. I'm trying to bring up my hillman, and he's bringing up his second unit of Bactrian hillmen, so that we can just try to get as many volleys as we can initially. So we're just going to keep cycle charging, getting those charge bonuses up, and hopefully getting more jabby throws in as well. His thorax swords just keep going like in and out of like weird positioning. It just keeps moving around, so we're able to get a decent amount of kills on these guys with hillmen. Even though hillmen are kind of considered as a trash unit because he's moving around so much, we're really able to get some good kills on those guys. He is moving his carrion axemen up to be able to try to get those jabby throws, and I believe that my ally Marketable here is trying to use his Persian light archers in order to get some of that flanking fire on the carrion axemen, as well as his hillmen are moving up to be able to try to take out this carrion axemen and stop them from firing into the flanks of our men. But here we're just doing as much damage to these thorax swords with our hillmen as we can. Again, hillmen are a cheap unit, but because these thorax swords are in such a weird position, we're able to get a really, really nice engagement with the enemies. Here, this is kind of whenever we decide to kind of fall back because the enemy's starting to land a ton of troops over here. So we are going to try to fall back out of this position and get away from those Egyptian troops, reform, and just get ready for the initial charge. Let them set up here a little bit. I've got some units over here. Okay, it just sounds really loud. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second here. There we go. So I do have a couple of units of swords. I actually have 3 swordsmen holding this corner here. Baxter is really just kind of getting that initial hold off on these front lines here. Just mainly Hillman. He's also got his Theros spears on the front line to be able to try to do as much damage as possible. He's using a decent amount of ammo on these carrying axemen, and I'm kind of like, yo, dude, stop using your ammo, because carrying axemen aren't the greatest units. I think they're like 360 gold or something like that. Actually, probably a little bit less than that, because they are, again, the equivalent of Hillman. So again, Archer Fire will do a lot of damage to these units, but our archers also have less ammo than like your Syrian heavy archers. So we're trying to, we need to save as much ammo as we can. Egypt did move up a unit of Nubian bows in order to try to get some Archer Fire on our guys as well. My ally is moving up his Bactrian Hillman because he saw an opportunity to be able to try to get these carrying axemen just to get him out of the fight. But Egypt pulling off a really good move there and moving up his thorax swords in order to fight the good fight and try to do whatever they can in order to take out the Hillman. So my ally, kind of noticing that, is going to try to retreat so that way he can retreat back and reinforce our front line here. This is where the Seleucids are going to be able to try and move up and do some good damage against our front line. The Seleucids have already engaged with me over here with their thorax swords. And soon I'm going to try to move my archers over to the flank here to be able to get some flanking fire on these thorax swords. I did notice that he's trying to move a unit of Hillman with the tower to get a flanking attack on my Pontic sword. So I am going to move my Pontic swords here soon to be able to try and make sure that they can't get that flank off. As you can see, the Seleucids are moving their more elite infantry as well. Silver Shield Swordsman, 3 units of that. Wow, because their general is the Silver Shield too, and very, very, very powerful unit. With 43 melee attack, 40 weapon damage, etc., etc. It's a very powerful unit and very dangerous, so we got to be careful of that, as well as 2 more units of thorax swords. So if you think Bactria has sent up everything, think twice, because they are not out of the fight yet. My Hillmen are starting to break here, but that's okay. They were just there to be able to take that initial charge and do as much damage as they can. I did pull back my Pontic swords a little bit because I didn't want them to be able to flank with their Hillmen too easily. I wanted them, force them to push a little bit harder, and with me, I'm trying to get a couple of volleys on these thorax swords before they engage with me. Try to do as much damage as I can, so that way my Pontic swords can have an easier time with trying to take out these thorax swords. Over here in the middle, we are starting to break here a little bit, but that's okay. They're just Hillmen. They were just there to be able to take that initial engagement and be able to try to take as much fire as they can. I am moving more troops up. I'm going to try to move some more troops over onto this side to be able to help hold this position. He is using his Theros spears to be able to do as much damage to these thorax swords as he can, which is doing a ton of damage. The thorax swords are just getting melted. But again, that's okay. This is just the initial engagement. I did notice that they are starting to push up a unit of Hillmen, so I'm like, yo, mark it. You need to move up something. So he did charge up his thorax swords to make sure that Hillman couldn't get any flanking fire. My ally doing a very good job of using his Theros spears to be able to engage with these thorax swordsmen as much as possible whenever they're moving. Just trying to, again, do as much damage as he possibly can to make sure that whenever they get to the front lines, they are as weakened as possible. We do have some troops breaking over here, but again, that's okay. That's just our Hillmen, the initial fights. The enemy trying to get some Hillmen around the flank to be able to do some damage to the flank of our units. Going over here to this side, they have broken through this initial engagement, but they were just there. Our troops were just there to be able to hold them off a little bit, to give our other troops a little bit of time to be able to engage in that central area. So we are going to fall back to that little walkway here. My ally soon is going to be like, yo, your Pontic swords are out of position, move them. So that's exactly what I did. I went ahead and moved my beautiful, God, look at those Pontic swords, so sexy. My beautiful Pontic swords off back into a better position, so that way they didn't get a flanking charge. My ally moving most of his archers over to the side to be able to try and get some flanking fire. Any units that tried to engage with this roadway. Right now, we're doing a really good job of holding. Our main concern is the central area, because that's where the enemy is putting most of their focus at. But yeah, with the central area, we are doing a very good job of holding. The enemy is sending up a lot of Hillmen, but that's okay. Again, Hillmen aren't the greatest unit in the world, so we're able to do a lot of damage. And they did try to get a little bit of a flank with that Hillman over there, so we did, but we were able to successfully break that Hillman, so that way we can secure this flank. They are going to try to get a flanking charge with these thorax swords, but my ally making a very, very good move of moving his thorax swordsman in order to be able to cut off those thorax swords and do as much damage as possible. Getting a slight side flank. He is moving up another unit of thorax swordsmen to be able to help with this central engagement, as well as with me. I'm moving up the remnants of a unit of Hillmen, as well as my Pontic Swordsmen, just to be able to try and help secure this middle line. Over here, we are doing a great job of holding back these Thorax Swords. My initial Pontic Swordsmen are still fighting the good fight and just doing such a good job of trying to hold off the enemy as much as possible. I'm trying to give them some supporting archer fire. The archers are doing a good job, but not as good as I would want to, so I'll probably stop firing here soon. But we're doing a fantastic job of just holding back the enemy and making sure that they cannot push through this corner. They did try to get that flanking charge with the Hillmen, but I did have a unit of Pontic Swords hidden inside of this tree, so I quickly charged them up, as well as a unit of Hillmen to be able to stop that initial charge. They were getting some great fire with their Syrian heavy archers on my archers over here, and so I was able to retreat most of my archers, but I actually didn't realize that I had a low unit of Eastern archers outside the wall until later on in the battle, which you'll see. So they're just kind of hanging out there. But yeah, right now it looks like the Seleucids are going to start trying to push up their Silver Shield Swords, as well as some of their more elite units to be able to try and help pushing through this middle point. Moving back over to this roadway, again, we're doing a great job of just holding back the enemy. We noticed they had no archer support here, so my ally is going to be pulling a huge move here with his Indian war elephants and going in to be able to charge against these Thorax Swords and really just make the killing blow and break some very expensive units. Beautiful charge. Great job on my ally. Well done. Those Thorax Swords are not going to stand a chance. Mixed with his Thorax Swords and just a couple of weak units of enemy Thorax Swords, he's really going to get some good kills. I saw that he was charging his elephants up, so I'm going to move up my still hidden Mercenary Naked Swords to be able to try and get a good charge off. I saw that he had a unit of Nubian bows, so I was going to try to distract them as much as possible to make sure that those elephants were secure in killing these Thorax Swordsmen. He does see my Mercenary Naked Swords. They are no longer hidden because he moved a couple of units of Carrying Axemen as well as a unit of Thorax Swords over on this side. So soon he's going to be able to move his swords up to be able to try and engage with my Naked Swords. He is moving his Nubian Bowmen closer, so I'm hoping that maybe I can get a charge off with my Naked Swords before he can charge in with the rest of his units, because his archers are a little bit out of position. But my Naked Swords are hidden again, so I don't know if he actually saw them, but great move again by my ally, moving his elephants to be able to quickly clear out 3 enemy units with those elephants. Those elephants really doing a great job, getting 71 kills, really supporting those Thorax Swords, which have only lost 4 men, but have gotten almost 100 kills. Beautiful, well done by my ally. The enemy's doing a good job of continuously putting pressure on our central defense here, moving in some more Thorax Swords. They're really starting to weaken us. I ended up having to move up a unit of Pontic Swords to be able to help support this middle engagement. I believe my ally is going to be moving up a unit of Thorax Swords to be able to help secure this position as well. He does have a fairly fresh unit of Thorax Swords in the rear, ready to charge in at a moment's notice, which, as you can see here, he is going to go ahead and charge in and just kind of get a little bit of a cycle charge in and get some fresh troops in there to be able to do as much damage as possible. Beautiful charge against those Egyptian Thorax Swords. Well done by my ally. I did move up my unit of Pontic Swords just a little bit to try and put a little bit more pressure on the flank of the Seleucids and the Egyptians. Seleucid unit using a Thorax Swords just to be able to make sure that I wouldn't be able to do too much damage. They are going to be able to use some nice ammo with their very powerful Syrian heavy archers to be able to try and do what they can to weaken my Pontic Swords. But they're in a good position. They got their shields facing the front, so those Syrian archers aren't going to be able to do as much damage as they would initially if my swords had been exposing their flank. I am going to move up a little bit because I saw their archers were moving away from there, because I'm just trying to, again, put as much pressure on this enemy flank as I possibly can. But they did see that, and they are going to be moving they were moving their archers initially because they saw that I was moving up, but because they were moving their archers up, I fell back and just decided to hold this position. And they're just going to kind of hang out and make sure that we can engage with their flank with those Thorax Swordsmen. Over in the center here, again, we are holding very well. We're going to go ahead and cycle out. They're doing a very good job of being able to do damage to my Pontic Swords here with their Javi capabilities, but my Pontic Swords, being a absolute chad of a unit, is going to be able to sit back, relax, and hold this position for a long time. Just look at that, dude. Oh, these Thorax Swords versus the Pontic Swords. I gotta say, Pontus is just such a fun faction to play. especially on large funds. Large funds, they have a sword unit that can hold up the Thorax Swordsman for 620 gold, whereas the Thorax Swords are a hefty, 720 or 760 gold. I did end up moving my Mercenary Naked Swords because I did see an opportunity to engage with their Nubian Bowmen, but the enemy was doing a great job and saw that they were moving. So they did have 2 units of Carrying Axemen. They engaged with me with 1 unit of Carrying Axemen, which I just kind of melted with that charge bonus ability of my Mercenary Naked Swords. Like, they may have lost, but they still got 138 kills because of the fact that they were engaged with 2 units of Carrying Axemen and were able to get a slight flanking charge on the Thorax Swords. I'm sorry that I missed that, but they did do a very, very good job of being able to distract the enemy and just give us a little bit more time to focus purely on this central area. They were able to get a little bit of a flank with those Thorax Swords, but I quickly moved up a couple more units of Pontic Swordsmen to be able to help hold this central area, because I want to make sure they can't get another flank. And so they, being smart, they did fall back with that unit of Thorax Swords to make sure that they didn't get outflanked. So I am going to hold my Pontic Swords in reserve until I see... Oh, okay, never mind. I did see that we were starting to break on this side, so I'm going to quickly charge in to these Silver Shield Swordsmen, because it's a very powerful unit to make sure that we are... going to continue holding in that middle area. The enemy's doing a great job of just continuously putting pressure on us. I did engage with a unit of Pontic Swords. Oh, hold that thought, guys. So I saw that their archers were completely exposed inside of that gate, so I quickly moved my chariots from that front, from that back victory point out of the gate to be able to engage with these archers. They're going to try to do whatever they can to be able to shoot at me, but my chariots being, oh, so gorgeous. My side chariots are going to charge in and get some beautiful kills on their archers, but I'm not going to stop there. I do not want to let those Syrian heavy archers, move up those towers, so I'm going to quickly engage with them, because if you engage with archers that are climbing up the tower, they're going to climb back down, or any unit for that matter, because they're engaged outside of the wall, so they're going to go back to where they're engaged to be able to try and do damage against the engagee. But I'm just going to keep charging back and forth with these side chariots and do as much damage to these archers as possible. And just look at that. They're just racking up the kills. 150 kills, almost 160. Just moving back and forth, doing whatever I can to be able to kill these archers. But beautiful move by me. I don't mean to brag on anything, but, I got to brag a little bit. That was beautiful. I was very, very happy about this charge. Getting rid of these archers is crucial to our success, because those Syrian heavy archers are very, very dangerous. Especially against our archers, against our weaker archers. So we wanted to make sure that if we can kill these archers before they can engage with ours, then that would just be absolutely beautiful. But just look at the carnage left by my chariots. Just look at how many dead bodies are here. These poor archers. Very, very well played by myself. I'm going to brush off the old shoulders here. The enemy is doing a great job of being able to break through that flank. They're using their very elite Silver Shield Swordsmen to be able to break through my Pontic Swords. And they are starting to be able to break through that middle engagement as well. They are flanking my Pontic Swords here and doing a great job of being able to deal some heavy damage to them. And doing a great job of holding back my Pontic Swords here in the middle too. Egypt had successfully pushed us back from this initial street engagement, so we did decide to pull back here just a little bit to be able to make sure that we didn't get outflanked there on that street. Egypt is going to do what they can to be able to flank around, and soon I'm going to notice that, and I'm going to retreat this Pontic Swords. I'm just trying to do what I can to be able to break these Thorax Swords, because I said they were breaking, but because they stopped wavering, I'm going to try to retreat these Pontic Swordsmen and just set them up in the street so that way they can't get outflanked here very, very soon. But yeah, no, they do a lot of great plays on both sides. That chariot play might have just saved us too, because those archers are extremely scary. Funny thing with the chariots, because I tried to move them through the central area, 2 of them got like glitched and stuck on these stone henges, and I just noticed that, so I'm going to try to like move my chariots over this way to try to get them on the unstuck, just unglitched, because I don't want that to be, my downfall. I want to be able to make sure that all chariots have the capability of engaging with the enemy. But again, great plays by both sides. They're making some great progress in pushing towards the central area, and Egypt doing a great job of making sure that we cannot push back through it on these streets, using their cheaper units of Carrying Axemen to make sure that we can't push up. But this fight is far from over. Egypt still has some very, very powerful units. 2 units of Royal Peltis. their archers haven't really used too much of their ammo, so they still have basically 4 units of fresh archers, as well as a unit of pikemen. I believe just what they just brought 1 unit of pikemen, but Egypt's still having some very, very powerful forces, as well as thorax swords that were engaged for a long time in this middle fight. But just look at this carnage, guys. This is just insane. Oh my lord. Just so many dead bodies trying to hold that central area. That was a very tough fight, and well played to the enemies for being able to push through that. Seleucid's still having some very, very powerful units as well. Some very healthy units of Silver Shield swordsmen. Still, you know, they brought 3 units of those, and they're still very healthy, having a lot of kills. That unit having only lost almost 50 of their guys, have 141 kills, and they're still very eager, fresh, and ready for the fight. I am going to pull back from these streets a little bit. I think I'm going to just set up right there because I'm getting engaged with the enemy archers. Again, every time we pull back, they punish us for it. They make sure that we know that anytime we pull back, we're going to get shot in the butt. So anytime we pull back, they are just engaging with our rear. That just sounded terrible. Just ignore what I just said. But yeah, no, we're just pulling back a little bit, making sure that they can't get any flanking shots with our archers. We are going to try to do a little bit of a flanking maneuver here. He does have his Indian War Elephant set up over here, and I do still have my chariots. I'm trying to figure out where I put my chariots, actually. Where did they go? Chariots? Hello? Dad? Big Daddy Char. Wait, where the hell are my chariots? I know they're still alive. Where are they? Am I just blind? There's one. Oh, there they are. Okay, they're right next to the elephants. Wow, I'm blind as a bat. That unit that I initially had outside of the walls, that unit of archers, I did actually finally move them back into the walls. So we do still have 4 units of archers. My archers have taken a little bit of losses, but they still have a lot of ammo, so that's good, because we're going to definitely need that ammo for those pikemen and those more elite units. Egypt is trying to move in their carrion axemen to engage with my troops, but my ally doing a very good job of getting that flanking charge on the carrion axemen and quickly breaking them, so that way they can't do any damage. They are going to take a little bit of archer fire. Very good move by Egypt, but my ally is going to quickly try to move in and seize an opportunity to maybe engage with some of their bowmen, and seeing that his thorax swords are very much weakened, he's going to try to get that charge in and be able to do as much damage as possible. But Egypt pulling a very good move here, sees what my ally is trying to do, so he does move in his unit of carrion axemen to be able to block that unit of thorax swords and make sure that it cannot engage with those Egyptian archers. They did, of course, with those chariots, we did do a ton of damage to these Syrian heavy archers, but they are definitely not out of the game. We took out 1 unit of them, but they still have 2 relatively healthy units of Syrian archers, and even that 1 unit of 14 archers is scary. It's extremely scary, because they still have almost full ammo. They haven't used their archers too much in this battle, and any ammo is scary ammo, especially when it comes with those Syrian archers. I saw that my ally was using his depleted unit of thorax swords to be able to take a lot of the ammo of these thorax swords, so I'm going to be able to try to move my mercenary naked swords and use that charge bonus in order to engage with those thorax swords and just try to do as much damage as I possibly can while those archers are distracted. Seeing that they are trying to focus down my mercenary naked swords with their archers, I'm going to quickly move up my archers to try and distract these Syrian heavy archers, and make sure that they can't just continuously focus on my naked swords, because they're going to have to choose a target, either the naked swords or my archers, and my archers are definitely more of a threat to the enemy right now. So the enemy, seeing that I was moving up my archers, are quickly moving their archers in position to make sure that I knew that I wasn't just going to be able to focus down their archers with mine. Very good move by the enemy. But you know, we decided to kind of go full charge. So I am going to be moving up a unit of Pontic swords to be able to engage with these thorax swordsmen, and just try to distract them as much as possible. And with these naked swords, I'm just going to keep trying to do as much damage as I can. I'm going to go ahead and cycle out these Pontic swords and these mercenary naked swords, so that way I can refresh their charge ability and just continue to try to get as much kills as possible. I didn't get too many kills with those mercenary naked swords, just 7 kills, but that's okay. They were just going in to be able to get that initial charge bonus and just try to do as much damage as possible. So I'm going to get that fresh unit of Pontic swords in that battle to be able to engage with their weakened thorax sword. And I think around this time is whenever we decided to move in with the elephants, or at least the elephants are going to move in soon. because we did see that their Syrian archers were weakened, but we're going to try to move in and just try to and take out as many troops as we possibly can. Egypt doing a very, very good job moving in a unit of carrying axemen to be able to try and secure this area so we couldn't hold it off. I did see that he was moving with that carrying axemen unit, though, so I am going to quickly move up my Pontic swordsman and get that beautiful charge off on these carrying axemen. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. So yeah, these carrying axemen aren't going to be able to stand too much of a chance against my thorax swords, but that's okay. They're just there to be able to distract and make sure we can't get any flanking maneuvers on while he moves up his more elite units of Royal Peltus and his archer units. But yeah, no, it's still a very, very good engagement. We're still not quite away from this middle engagement yet. Me and my ally don't necessarily want to fall back to the central area because it's just kind of boring. That's where everybody tries to fall back to. And we right now, it feels like we do have a slight advantage with the positioning of our troops. So we are just going to keep trying to hold these two narrow streets because we're trying to find a good opportunity to be able to engage with those archers. We see that those archers are just kind of hanging out there. They are going to use precision shot. In order to be able to do more damage, and so that's kind of whenever I notice, at least I hope, soon I'm going to be able to try to move my archers out of position and make sure that they don't do or take as much damage. I did move this unit of archers up because they are out of ammo, so I try to move it up so that way I can distract the enemy archer unit and try to get them, convince them to be able to engage with that archer that's out of ammo. But they were smart. They didn't want to engage with that archer because they knew that they were out of ammo, so they just continuously focused on those Persian light archers that still have ammo. But that's okay. I'm just going to keep that archer up there, so maybe they will engage with it and do as much damage as possible. I also did notice that those archers were hidden, so that archer really didn't do too much. So it looks like the Seleucids are going to begin to move up with those silver shield swordsmen. They're just going to keep moving up. I think they're going to try and continue to engage with us over on the streets. Either that or retreat back to their Egyptian counterparts. That carrying axemen that initially engaged with my thorax sword. Carrying axemen are very cheap, and a carrying axemen unit that can get 105 kills on more elite units such as Pontic swordsmen is fantastic. Well done by the enemy. I did move my chariots over here because I was hoping that I could potentially you know, convince those Royal Peltus to go in and engage with these two guys, so that way I can slip my chariots past and engage with those enemy archers. But Egypt was smart, and they are going to move their unit of pikemen and their Royal Peltus in to be able to make sure that I can't charge in those chariots. But here we go. We saw that the archers were starting to move, so we did move a unit of Indian war elephants to be able to help take out the last of these thorax swords and support my Pontic swords. And then we are going to try to get those elephants over onto the opposite side and be able to do as much damage to those archers as possible. I am going to go ahead and charge in my depleted unit of Pontic swords with these thorax swords and Syrian heavy archers that are out of ammo. Just to keep distracting as many units as I possibly can. But yes, those elephants are going to go in and get some good damage on these archers and those swords units. They are going to go berserk here soon, but hopefully they'll go berserk in the direction of the enemy, do as much damage as they can. They did take a volley of javelins, but still doing a very, very good job of being able to do as much damage to these silver shield swordsmen, very elite unit as they can. They are moving back towards these thorax swords and my units of Pontic swords and naked swords, so I'm going to quickly run back because I thought they were going to charge in and do damage to my guys, but no, they did actually turn around and charge back into that unit of Syrian heavy archers and that unit of silver shield swords. So a very, very good move by my ally using those elephants to our advantage of just trying to do as much damage as possible. My Pontic swords still doing a very good job. They may have been depleted, but they're not out of the fight yet. Still holding off these units and making sure that they're stationary and can't move out of the way. I am going to try to get my chariots over back and around here to be able to try and help these elephants out and do as much damage as they can, but the chariots were far away, so hopefully I'll be able to get them back. But it's looking pretty good for us. The enemies still have a lot of elite troops, but we're still looking pretty. We still have a decent amount of troops to be able to hold the line. I still do have that unit of pikemen, and we still have our unit of elephants and our chariots, which have done some great damage. Those elephants having almost 200 kills, my chariots having 265 kills. We're doing a very, very good job. Both sides just doing a really good job of maneuvering. Seleucids, noticing that they are losing the fight over here, they're going to try to do whatever they can to retreat whatever they have left to their Egyptian counterpart, because Egypt still has 4 units of healthy, full Nubian bowmen, so they're going to retreat back so that way those bows can make sure that those elephants can't come and do whatever damage they can to the enemy archers. But luckily, we were able to basically take out those Syrian archers from the Seleucids. Beautiful, beautiful job from those elephants, doing a great job of just taking care of that infantry and saving a lot of lives today, taking out the rest of those archers. So very well done by my ally, Marketable. But yeah, I think the enemies are going to go ahead and try to focus on this side. This is our weaker side, so they're going to go ahead and fall back over to this side and do whatever they can in order to push through and surround these two units. My unit of Pontic Swords are very, very weak. They've taken a lot of archer fire. They're at 66, but they're still not out of the fight yet. They may have taken a lot of kills. They may be a little demoralized because they've taken so much archer fire, but again, they're not out of the fight yet. They're ready. They're standing by and ready to engage with any enemy units that come into contact with them. Egypt pulling a very, very good move. Oh, sorry. Moving their Cretan archers. And, oh, I didn't know they had Cretan archers. Awesome. And Nubian bowmen over onto this cliffside to be able to try to get some flanking fire on these thorax swords and our defensive position here. But it looks like the Seleucids are going to begin to move up and try to push past our defenses as quickly as possible because we are out of position. We still have a lot of troops over on this side. So I'm going to quickly just kind of do a little bit of a click and slide on all these units and try to quickly move them over to the hill. We do see that they have pikemen right here, so we're going to quickly try to move our archers over here to be able to engage with these pikemen. But Egypt doing a very, very good move of moving their mercenary Cretan archers and Nubian bows to engage with our archers, because we truly don't stand a chance in an archer battle against those more heavily armored archers. So it's going to force us to either just continue to engage with those pikemen or whatever units we decide to engage with, or we're going to have to fall back. So we did decide to sit back, relax, and engage with any units that we can. We're going to try to get some flanking fire on these Silver Shield swords. Again, very, very powerful unit. We want to try to make sure that we kill as many of them with our archers as we can. Because we do not have any infantry that can stand up toe-to-toe with those type of units. My Pontic Swords holding for maybe 2 seconds before they just automatically broke, but still doing a very, very good job. They ended up getting almost 200 kills. I think it was like 180 kills. Yeah, 173, so still a very, very good job by this Pontic Swordsman. My ally and me doing a very, very good job of getting some flanking fire on those silver shields. And then, of course, the enemy doing a great job of turning those silver shields around in order to make sure that we cannot engage with them, engage with their backs with our archers. I quickly move over a unit of my levy pikemen to be able to engage with these silver shields. I did move over a mercenary naked sword to be able to try to make sure that that unit of silver shield swords couldn't push past my levy pikemen, so my pikemen are going to engage with those silver shields, but the enemy doing a great job of just moving back, noticing that I do have pikes there, and we do have the supportive archer fire, so they're going to quickly fall back and wait for a better engagement. My ally was going to send in his unit of Indian war elephants to be able to try and break that unit of silver shields, but again, very good move by the enemy, waiting for their archers to be able to push up and just be able to shoot those fire arrows of justice at our elephants to make sure that they can't continuously push up. We have taken a loss with those elephants, but these elephants still have 247 kills, and those are like good quality elite kills on a lot of thorax swordsmen and some silver shields. Of course, a little bit of archers as well, but yeah, no, those elephants doing a fantastic job of just being able to harass the enemies as much as possible. I did move up a unit of mercenary naked swords to be able to try and get a flanking shot, but they doing a great job of noticing that and using their archers to quickly try and break these naked swords, because they have no armor. They are naked people, and so they're going to take a lot of damage from the archers. So I'm going to quickly try to push them back and make sure that if those archers want to follow me, then they have to expose themselves to any type of flanking charge from either our chariots or our elephants. Over here, I'm trying to quickly maneuver my chariots around this stupid Stonehenge as I'm trying to micromanage everything else as well, because I didn't want them to get caught on that Stonehenge. So I'm just trying to do whatever I can to be able to make sure that they maneuver around that Stonehenge and don't get caught in there. The enemy is going to quickly attempt to engage with us over on this choke point, but I am going to quickly charge up a unit of Pontic Swords and just try to punish them as much as I possibly can for having to try to retreat, and just try to get as many kills as I can on these Silver Shield Swordsmen. Very well played by my Pontic Swords. God, I love Pontus! Pontus is such a fun unit to use. They do notice that I moved up my unit of Levy Pikes. So they are going to try to use their jabbies and archer fire. I do notice that they don't really have too much protecting these archers, so I'm going to quickly try to get my mercenary naked swords in the fight, as well as my pontic swords, in order to try to just engage with these royal peltas, and just do whatever I can in order to try to get these archers, because if we can get these archers out of the battlefield, then that's perfect. And I noticed that there's a gap right here, so I'm going to quickly get my scythe chariots into column formation and just charge them through whatever gap I can see. They are taking a ton of fire. They're just losing men left and right, but I'm going to quickly try. They are breaking, but they were successful. 3 of them were able to get past all of those royal peltas and such, in order to engage with these archers. I do notice that he has pikes trying to set up, but I'm going to quickly try to get my chariots just through that pike formation, doing a very good job with those chariots and getting through, and I'm going to just keep engaging with the archers and doing whatever I can in order to break them. My ally is going to move his unit of Indian war elephants while I'm distracting these guys with their pikes, because they are in complete chaos. And he's going to try to get his unit of Indian war elephants just to be able to finish off these archers and potentially these pikes, because they are out of formation. Very, very well played by my ally, just getting a ton more kills, just racking up kills. And these scythe chariots just killing archers. There's only 3 of them left, and they're still just doing so much damage. They are starting to break here, but right now they have 520 kills, 530, almost 5. Can we make it 540? Can we make it to 550? Come on, one more kill, one more kill. Yeah, it's 550. Oh, come on, 560? Oh, dude, those chariots really just being MVPs. Those chariots and elephants just doing so much damage to these archers. And that's pretty much it for the enemy archers. They still have a unit of 33, but that was absolutely beautiful. So we're going to quickly charge in and charge our units in here and just try to do as much damage as we possibly can. I do have a unit of pontic swords engaging with these royal peltas to continuously distract them, and my naked swords were able to kind of get through and engage with the enemy. I'm just trying to be able to do as much damage as I can. I was just trying to take out those archers, but the enemy doing a very good job of being able to retreat their archers behind those pikemen, and just securing them, making sure that they can save as much ammo as possible. But I still have 3 units of Eastern archers that have ammo, so I'm going to use them to be able to try and do as much damage to these elite troops as I can, so we don't have to fight them hand in hand. I completely forgot that I had a unit of naked swords and a empty unit of Eastern archers over in the back, so they're just going to kind of chill there for a little bit. But I'm going to try to get a unit of hillmen and my general in here to be able to try and get a flank on those royal peltas. Those royal peltas that were initially engaged with my pontic swords had retreated just to be able to try and freshen up a little bit. Getting some great, these peltas units are getting some great kills, like 89 kills on a fresh unit. These pikemen, I'm doing whatever I can to be able to focus down these pikes. I do not want these pikes to stay in, because those pikes can do some real damage to my troops. But yeah, I'm just like so focused on trying to utilize the gaps in between these royal peltas to try to get as many flanks as I can, do as much damage as I possibly can. The enemy noticing this is going to send up their general of silver shield swords, because they know if they can break my pontic swordsman, if they can break my general, then they can definitely win this game with their more elite troops. But I'm still going to take the risk. I'm going to move my general in and just, again, try to do as much damage as I possibly can against these enemy units. Moving my general up, trying to use whatever abilities I can on my troops. My other unit of pontic swords are breaking, which is very scary. I'm going to try to get whatever units I can. This unit is out of ammo. This unit of pontic swords is depleted, but still a unit. I'm going to try to get whatever units I can in here in order to help support my general, because he's in a tough position. I didn't expect that unit of pontic swords to break so quickly. And we're just frantically trying to break these silver shield swords. But again, they're silver shield swords. 223 kills, even though they're surrounded. Very, very powerful unit, but we're trying to do whatever we can to be able to break through them, so that way we can come in and support my general. Because again, if my general dies, then the enemies have a very, very strong chance of winning. The Seleucid general of silver shield swords over here doing a very good job against my Eastern archers, doing a very good job of making sure my Eastern archers can't engage with them. So I'm going to quickly try to get my pontic swords around these Eastern archers to be able to come and support my general. The enemy did have a unit of Nubian bows come back. They are out of ammo, but again, anybody that can help kind of distract our forces and make sure they can't push past and save my general as they can. My general just very balls deep in the thick of it. He's doing a very good job of holding off Egypt's like more elite troops, and we're doing whatever we can to try and break these silver shield swords. I do still have ammo left, so I got my unit of pontic swords in the flank here. so that way my archers can get some great flanking fire on the Silver Shield swords. I'm just doing what I can to break that unit, so that way we can kind of get some more units over here and charge through. I did finally notice that I did still have a unit of Mercenary Naked Swords, so I am going to quickly push them up and try to use them to be able to help out with those Silver Shield swordsmen. My bad. But yeah, no, my general just doing a very good job of holding. And the enemy, noticing that we did successfully get troops up, is going to try to push back one of their unit of Peltas. So I saw this as an opportunity to be able to get my Pontic swords out of there, to be able to try to save them, to make sure that my general did not die out of that. So that was a beautiful move by both teams. I'm going to try to get my Levy Pikemen in here to be able to do what they can in order to kill these Royal Peltas. The Royal Peltas are going to come and try to support their Seleucid ally against my Naked Swords. My Naked Swords got a great charge bonus out, so they're able to get some great kills on these Silver Shield swordsmen, as well as with the support of the archer fire. We are finally be able to start breaking those Silver Shield swords. I do have another unit of Eastern archers that's out of ammo that quickly came back to the fight, so I'm going to quickly try to engage with those Royal Peltas to make sure they can't get away from my pikemen, so that way we can hopefully engage with them and kill them. But yeah, guys, it's just coming down to the wire. We have a unit of Levy Pikemen. We have a unit of Royal Guard. We have my General. We have Archers. We have some Mercenary Naked Swords. But they do still have a unit of Royal Peltas, so they do still have a chance of winning the game. But the army losses were just too powerful. Their General just could not take it. He noticed that all of his army was gone, and he couldn't see any more point in actually fighting the battle. So there we have it. We did take the W today. It was a beautiful battle. Very, very well played by both sides. Very fun factions to play against on both sides. Again, you don't have your typical, Rome, Kush, or anything else. I love playing battles like this where you don't play with factions that are typical. Of course, Egypt is a powerful faction, but I actually haven't been seeing them nearly as much as I used to. I have definitely been seeing a lot more Roman players as well as Kush players, so it's definitely very nice to be able to, and very refreshing to be able to see these factions that aren't played nearly as much and fight each other. Definitely makes for, in my opinion, a more interesting battle. But holy smokes, that battle was crazy. Let's go ahead and end the replay so that way we can look at the kills on both sides. But look at that, Chariots, 561 kills. Almost all of those kills were archers. My Chariots really just were the MVP for that battle, just going in and making sure that Battleman here just could not use Assyrian heavy archers, because the Seleucids are scary because they're a very powerful faction. They have very, very good units, but they're also very scary because they can bring 4 units. They're the only faction, from my understanding, that can bring 4 units of Syrian heavy archers, so they're just a very scary faction. So the fact that I was able to kill so many at the beginning, those Chariots just doing such a good job, man. I'm really fangirling over these Chariots right now. That was very fun. My ally Marketable Skills doing a great job with his Indian War Elephants, killing a ton of high quality troops, a lot of thorax swords, and a decent amount of archers too. Just overall, between me and Marketable, fantastic teamwork, great communication, and a fantastic game. Battleman is a fantastic player, as well as Appearing LV. I don't think I've ever played with Appearing LV prior to this battle, but both players doing a fantastic job. Me and Market definitely had the advantage of being in a Discord, while Battleman and Appearing, I believe, were just kind of randoms. But yeah, no, shout out to both our enemies and to my ally Marketable. That was a very, very, very fun game. I did quite enjoy that. Looking at some of the kills, Bactrian and Hillman, of course, didn't do too much, but of course they weren't meant to do too much. They were just there to soak up some ammo, do some initial damage, and just kind of weaken the troops as much as possible prior to the enemy troops getting into the city. My ally, because I know prior to this battle, I was talking to Market, I was kind of giving him crap. I was like, really, you're gonna leave 2 slots open? And it really paid off. He did some great damage, and he was definitely the initial, he held the enemy for so long in that initial engagement, and really just held those choke points very, very well. So that was very good. My Pontic Swords doing a great job. Of course, they are a cheaper unit, but they did a great job at holding the enemy and fighting against a little bit more of elite troops and still getting some decent kills. My Archers doing great. My Chariots really just kicking ass, and those Mercenary Naked Swords doing a fantastic job as well. Overall, a fantastic battle. This Royal Peltas getting a ton of kills at the end. Even with all the archer losses, Egypt still got a ton of kills with his archers. Doing very good job with his carrying axemen. A cheap unit still getting over 100 kills. I mean, a cheap unit like half the price of my Pontic sword, still getting as many kills as my Pontic swords overall, and those Thorax swords getting so many kills as well. Overall, just a great job on both sides. That was a crazy battle. But yeah, guys, I think that's going to be it. That was a fantastic battle. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you guys want to see these battles live, make sure to come and follow me on twitch.tv/Captain4Eyes, CAPN4IS. I'll put that down in the panels or in the description below. Sorry, I'm so used to streaming. But yeah, guys, that was a fantastic battle. Very fun, especially the live battle. So make sure you guys join my Twitch channel as well. If you guys liked it, also make sure to hit that sub button. I would highly appreciate it. So that way you guys can get some notifications as to my next YouTube channel or YouTube videos that are coming out. I would highly appreciate it. But again, thank you so much, you sexy ass motherfuckers. I do appreciate all of you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Peace.